There's a cockroach on the door. Here you go, have some Bondo, buddy. Yeah, that'll do you some good. So I haven't posted a video in like 8 months, and it's not because I died or anything yet. I've just been really busy working on some time-consuming shit, mainly this thing. But I have been working on my other cars and recording pretty much everything I do. It just hasn't really been enough to compile into a whole video on its own. But I have been working on other videos, and they'll be coming down the pipeline soon enough. This thing, all the bodywork and prep work and then the painting, it's probably gonna need like 2 or 3 videos on its own. Plus it needs a lot more than just paint. You're probably wondering, oh my god, why is it all taken apart and messed up already? What'd I miss? Well, I forgot to record an intro to this video, so this is the intro. I mean, you read the title, you know what this is gonna be, so I don't know why I even have to explain myself. As you can see, my expert welding job here, when I reattach this downpipe to the rest of the exhaust, well, it leaks. I mean, who would have ever thought? Take it out and weld it, and then clamp it back in place and it won't leak. And then after that, I'll actually be able to hear myself think. Time to steal your catalytic converter. Oh. I was nowhere near straight, but good enough. Oh, thankfully this rubber is still... Oh yeah! I love tasting rust. Oh, I got it! I got it! Alright, here's a closer look at my crusty, rusty downpipe. That's all booger welded. You know, I can't imagine why that leaks. And then, you know, that's probably part of my problem too, right there. Here's my custom exhaust mount here. This I'm gonna keep because that works perfectly. I went to the auto parts store and got some supplies. I got this seemingly completely identical flex pipe. And I even got the gaskets for the manifold, which it needed before it didn't have them. And finally, I got some of this $20 spray paint, which is way too expensive. I only bought it out of sheer convenience. Do not buy this. If you're going to paint your exhaust, which I recommend you do to protect it from rust, you should use barbecue paint. It's the exact same stuff. Who cares what color it is? Yeah, it's black. Who gives a shit? It's under the car. You're never gonna see it. It's the same stuff as this, and it's like a quarter of the price. Time to bust out my specialty welding table. Alright, well it turns out this can was just barely enough to finish this whole thing, so I'm gonna get my 20 bucks back for this. I found another can of this spray paint lying around, so I gave it another coat, in case you were wondering why it magically changed color. Alright, I just drove the car and it almost left me stranded down the street. The exhaust is fixed though. It does sound pretty good. It's not billowing smoke out from the engine bay anymore, which is nice. So I guess the first course of action I'm going to take is to just check the codes. Alright, so we got a long pause in between, and then it flashes twice, and then once. So that means 2, 1, so code 21, and that's the only code it has because it just keeps repeating that. All right, so only one code, 21. Number 21, oxygen sensor signal. Detection of oxygen sensor deterioration. Not deterioration, deterioration. My oxygen sensor is deteriorated. Oh no. So I guess first I'm going to try to unplug that oxygen sensor and then start it and see if it runs any better or worse. Is making a bunch of noise. It doesn't seem to be misfiring, it's just kind of stumbling because I think it's idling too low. Let's try half a turn, maybe a full turn. Oh, that's significantly better. This vacuum hose cap is cracked. Doesn't seem to make a difference, but I'll still plug it anyway. I don't know if you saw that, but here's a problem. When you rev the engine, the throttle cable comes off of the little throttle thing. You can see the angle is definitely not ideal there. So I'm going to try to take this bracket off and bend it so this is straighter so that doesn't happen because the throttle is sticking. Oh, Jesus. So that angle is looking a lot better. It's pretty much straight. And in order to keep that angle, we need a spacer. That's like a little less than a centimeter. This looks like it'll make a good spacer. Note to self, don't use vacuum caps to block off a radiator port.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've recorded before in this shop, but dear God, this is like a massive improvement since I last saw it.
Yeah.
But I see you have a very high-tech method of hooking this all up. Hold on a second.
This is what it looked like before. That's all the lights in the shop.
Oh, fair.
Now, boom.
But that is a substantial improvement.
Let there be lights. But I took care where it mattered with the cables.
Yeah, yeah.
Garage doors.
So they won't smack anything, right?
That's a nail.
Oh.
Holding this one. See, look on this one. I even used a drywall anchor and a screw.
It's gonna fling that thing off, isn't it?
No, it's not. I hope not.
Yep, I told you.
Oh, it wasn't even that hot. Yeah, I knew this was gonna be a problem. So I have them in my eBay cart.
Why don't you just buy them?
I'm going to. I didn't realize I needed it so urgently.
You see that?
It's fluctuating.
It's like, you see it? You see it?
Yeah.
Oh! It wants to go down. It wants to go down. Yeah, there it goes. I think it's just slow. That's.
My foot's completely off the gas and it just like stays. And I have to put my foot under it and lift the gas pedal up. So the throttle is sticking still. Right now, like it doesn't die.
That's good.
So yeah, I think the oxygen sensor is definitely a problem. See, I'm trying to rev it and it just doesn't.
Jesus Christ.
See, when I try, I'm not doing that. That's me like trying to rev it and it just kind of doesn't.
Your neighbors despise you.
Oh yeah, well they already do.
Is it just the slack? What? Like, you gotta give it more cable, but how do you give it more cable?
I guess take the bracket off again and drill the holes further to the left. If the bracket is moved this way,
Oh, true.
then the cable. So the throttle is still sticking, and to keep it from sticking, we need to add some slack to right here. So to do that, I'm gonna just take this bracket off and drill new holes further to the left, so this bracket can go further this way. Oh, I just got electrocuted.
Oh.
What? How did that happen? All right, so the switch is broken on my drill press. To turn it on, I have to connect these two wires like that. I'm holding the metal clamp and hit it against the, that'll wake you up. Oh yeah, there's some slack there now. That's the Toyota Specialty Oxygen Sensor Replacement Tool. So I ordered a new oxygen sensor, and I specifically got one that came with this plate with the threads in it. So the oxygen sensor threads into this part. And I think I'm just gonna weld this part right to the downpipe and forego the gasket altogether, because these studs are totally busted and I can't get them out. That'll work. Got a new ground clamp for my welder because this one is pretty junk. This cable's pretty thin and crappy. I was really sick of it breaking, so I'm not messing around this time. Time to put the downpipe back in again. One of these studs broke off, which is pretty unfortunate. Hopefully that's not a problem. Professional bodywork tool right here. I've never used this filler before, and I can already tell it's going to be way better than Bondo brand. That stuff is garbage. I think I put too much hardener. That's okay. I got the top of this fender feeling pretty good. It's not wavy. I mean, it feels a little strange right here, but it's so little, I think it'll block out. Just a couple coats of primer and a sanding block it'll go away. Stuff like this, tiny little pinhole right there. And I was using an old crappy Bondo spreader that had like a chunk left on it, so it left like a little streak right here. I'm going to use some of this. Don't use this brand, Bondo brand spot putty. This stuff's garbage, but it's just what I have. It'll be all right. This is no longer working. I'm not sure why. Let's see if I could fix it. Just needed some more. This darker stuff right here is fiberglass filler. It's just so hard to keep track of where the high and low spots are, really, because there's so many different layers of body filler in here. So what I'm going to try to do is a bit of a guide coat. I'm just going to kind of dust over this whole quarter panel, and then I'll go over the whole thing with the longboard, and whatever spots remain dark from the primer will be the low spots. Spots like this where there's bare metal right here, this is all high spots, even up here where I was sanding up this. This is a high spot right here, and this is a high spot that was like pushed out from a big dent here. There's this whole quarter panel. I didn't even get back there yet. The way the car is, it's kind of like goes like that, and then right about on the top of that wheel arch, it just kind of like hooks back, and it's a one big curve. But the curve really, this is kind of like the top of the curve here where it starts going inward. It's kind of the reasoning why I kind of broke it up the way I did, just to make it even possible for me to go at this. Piece is actually busted. You know, you would think these are two separate pieces, but they're not. They're actually, when it broke. I don't know, see if I could find some of this stuff on eBay. Here you could see this little toe strap thing I put in there when I was like 15 probably. And I did actually have the mental fortitude to not zip tie it to the grill like an idiot. I actually drilled through the crash bar and put a giant bolt through it, so you could totally pull the car from this. It's actually functional. Whoops. I almost forgot, I gotta fill these two little holes where there's a trim piece clipped in. Well, I've successfully made the hole bigger. This is how these holes turned out. Even after grinding my weld, it still stuck out a little bit, so I just whacked them with a hammer to push it in, and then put some body filler over it, and it's like perfect now. looks like my blinker fluid is leaking out here. I did not know that these taillights leaked. I think the license plate bolts were the only thing holding this trim piece in. Yep. Those are really attached.
Goodbye.
Paint came with it a little bit there, but
It doesn't really matter.
Mighty Car Mod stickers are good quality.
They're mighty, you might say.
What to do, calling animals 2 by 2, so we call them in the ark. 2 by 2, we call the birds, the ox with the kangaroo. Then they call and Jaffa, the ham and sham. Then God began to flood the land. He raised his hands to heaven on high, shook the stars and moon from the sky, shook the mountain, he troubled the sea, hits the wind.
This side of the car is way worse than the other side, which is also bad. But this quarter panel was involved in an accident at some point before I got this car, and there was already like this much Bondo in there, and the paint was all cracking and chipped, and it was wavy, and there was rust holes, and I patched all the rust holes with metal, and there's fiberglass over that, and then there's Bondo over that, and there's just the sheer amount of layers of Bondo it takes is super not good. Like, there's too much body filler in this car. It's better than it was, but it's still just not great. I mean, obviously this just needs a whole new quarter panel. It's really bad. I didn't even show you guys over here yet, but we'll get there. That's a whole nother fiasco. Also, the reason I took the fenders off is twofold. The reason I took this fender off is because this door needed some body work, and I already got this fender pretty much ready for paint, so I wanted to take it off so that way I could work on this without messing up the fender. And the reason I took off this fender is because of that. So I'm gonna have to fix that. There's this hole too, but that's it. Just the fender and this. That's the only metal patches that are required. The roof is pretty straight. I mean, you could see there's a little bit of a ding. I don't know if you could see that, but there's a little bit of a dent right there. I mean, I'm sure there's dings all over it, but it looks relatively straight when it's covered in dust. Same thing with the trunk lid. Honestly, looks totally fine, miraculously. Same thing with this back bumper, totally fine. I mean, there's a couple areas that are gonna need a little bit of filler, but just barely. This is a previous rust patch here that I repaired very poorly. I mean, it's patched correctly, just the bodywork on top of it is really bad. So that needs to be fixed. Also, speaking of bad bodywork, this is like wavier than the ocean here, so that needs a lot of work. This door is pretty straight, other than this is high spot right here, but I mean, it feels really good. Honestly, I think that'll just block out and primer. I don't think this door needs any filler at all, to be honest. This door was previously full of Bondo, and well, it still is. It's a lot wavier, but it's still not that bad, and I actually already got it pretty decent. I think pretty much all the rest of this will block out. This is gonna need a little bit of icing here. There's a tiny ding. I obviously just need to fix this chip. I got rid of the pinstripe on the whole car, so it's a lot easier to sand when you don't have to worry about the pinstripe in the way. I actually really liked this pinstripe. What would be really cool is to do like a hand-painted pinstripe, like just silver with like a paintbrush and go all the way down the car on both sides in one stroke. But I like have Parkinson's disease, so I probably can't do that. Anyway, I think that's about gonna do it for this video. I think I'm gonna do kind of like a series on this car. This is just kind of like a never-ending project. And in between videos on this car, I'll be making videos on these. This one is almost done actually, so expect a video on that soon. Also, I got a new air compressor. This one's super quiet, so it's not gonna rattle the brain out of my skull. Actually, I got two new air compressors. I got this one on Facebook for 50 bucks. This is the big boy. I basically just got this so I can run the paint gun. All right, that's it. See ya.